So how are you doing? Let's know how you're doing. Let's know how you're feeling at the comment section. So tell us, how's your day going? Are you excited? Is it a good day for you? Is it what kind of what's been your experience so far? Just in one word, tell us what your experience has been so far. Is it good? Is it interesting? Is it beautiful? Just let us know how your day has been. So like I earlier said, we don't have an obesity today. We have patience primer. So today we'll be having a very important conversation on relationship building and negotiation. So in no distant time, we'll have our trainer or facilitator with us. But before we do that, let's know how your day is going, and let us know from where you're joining from, wherever you're joining from, please let us know. And again, we want you to use your name, your name that you registered with as your name for the session, so that we'll be able to take your attendance, so that we'll be able to register properly to know that you attended this live interactive session. So please, before we go to any other thing, I would like to know how everyone is feeling. Okay, Jaffa is saying hello, everyone. Jaffa is saying, hello, everyone. I'm from Uganda. Oh, Uganda, you're welcome. And then Endurance is saying, good afternoon from Jos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, Endurance, for joining. Is there another person? Oh, good. Someone is saying good day. Another person is saying excited. Someone is saying beautiful. So excited that your days have been very, very amazing. And that's actually very beautiful. So, I would like we have always done. This is African Foods Change Makers, and then this is the live interactive session, as we've always done. Today we're having our 6th session. We've started from week 1, week 2, week 3, and then we're in week 6. Isn't it amazing how we are in week 6 already? And it still feels so exciting that I've been thinking we're in week 2 or week 3 just for me to check in today, and then it's week 6 already. So today we're actually having a very great, or going to have a great individual with us that will be talking to us about relationship building and negotiation. So this is African Food Change Makers, like I've said, and then this is the Scaling Export Program. Today we're doing relationship building and negotiation. And then just to run you through the agenda for today, we'll be having a welcome and introduction, which I've already done, the poll, which you already started telling us how you're feeling today and all that. And then we'll be having the speaker's introduction. We'll be having opportunities from the AFC of speaker's introduction and then presentation. We'll be having connecting with AFC, the membership drive. Let me quickly sound it. If you are not a member yet, please, when it's time for membership drive, ensure to join the membership hub. And then we'll be having the closing remarks as well. So just to quickly share the opportunities with you. Okay, so we quickly want you to introduce yourself. I think a lot of persons have introduced themselves already to tell us which they're coming, joining from, their names, and then their agri businesses. So endeavor to tell us your name, your country, and then the agri business or the value chain that you represent. So let's quickly get that, and then while we're waiting for our facilitator to join us, she'll join us shortly. I know that most of us are already very excited and looking forward to what we have for today. I'm very sure it will make a very great impact in each of our businesses, and then that's what is actually very important to us. So I'll just quickly check the chat box to see what we are saying. Elizabeth Panda from Malawi. Oh, you're welcome, Elizabeth. And then this is Chibukem Anyile. I hope I did not murder your name, but if I murdered it, I'm so sorry. Chibuke is Good Life Agro City Ventures from Nigeria. And then this is Bashir Kwama. Bashir Kwama is from Nigeria as well. And then we have Patrick Hede from Kada Agro Limited from Nigeria. Bakaliki, Nigeria. We have Philemon from Jos. He's a farmer. I like the way you said farmer. It means you're a proud agri person, and this is so exciting. We also have Dr. Abat Kasita from Uganda. Oh, great. I think we have a lot of Uganda persons here today. We have Nigerians and Uganda really repping their countries today. So we have Omorire for Gloria from Nigeria as well. And then we have, who do we have again? We have Inusa Oluwakemi from Nigeria, Yorinde, Nigeria. Nigeria is getting too much. I want to see another Uganda. Oh, Ghanaian. I've seen Mark Kebo from Ghana. This is great. And then we have Bashi Kwama. Okay, I've mentioned him before. And we have someone from Lesotho, Sarah from Lesotho. This is really great. So let's just keep introducing ourselves, and please use your correct name. That's your name from the use your correct name so that we can get your attendance correctly. That's actually very important to us, please. So please, our trainer is here, our facilitator is here. I'm sure you're actually very excited about this. So if you're excited, give me a thumbs up on the comment section to say you're excited and you're looking forward to the trainers session. So we'll quickly want to introduce our trainer, so that would leave the podium, the virtual podium for her. So next slide, please. Okay, sorry for that network glitch. So before the introduction, before we bring our, there's a way to bring in our facilitator. We don't just bring our facilitator like that. So before we do that, I quickly want to give us a very profound information for this weekend. So participants will be having a kind of upgrade this weekend. So the SEP portal would not be available, would not be accessible from Friday. So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you may not be able to access the SEP portal, but then we're going to bring this information to you again at the later end. I just thought that you should know about this. So our facilitator is here, like I said, and then just to quickly bring her into the podium, I would like to quickly read the bio so that we can get started already. So this is Lesego Serolong, and Lesego Serolong's journey began in town and unfolded in Mafeking, both situated in South Africa's Northwest province. Overcoming the loss of both parents by the age of 14, she took the helm of her household responsibilities. Lesego's educational path led her through Tigerloof High School, followed by a BA in International Studies from the City College of New York, and culminated in an MSc in Social Policy and Development from the London School of Economics. Our unwavering belief that education, harnessing natural assets, and commercial endeavors are key to addressing rural poverty propelled Lesego to establish Bokamoso, sorry, impact investment. This visionary social enterprise drives income growth within impoverished rural communities, operating along the entire honey farming value chain from hives to offtake for honey production. Bokamoso Foods proudly markets its unique luxury brand, Beloved, featuring honey sourced from these enterprising agripreneurs. Lesego allocates a portion of our modest proceeds not only to honey farmers, but also to supporting orphans. She co-founded Raise the Children, a non-profit committed to investing in 5 years of secondary boarding education for orphaned youth, showcasing leadership potential from South Africa's rural regions. Beyond education, Raise the Children provides these scholars with trauma-informed psychosocial counseling and targeted math and English tutoring. Lesego allocates a portion of our modest proceeds not only to honey farmers, but co-founded Raise the Children, a non-profit committed to investing in 5 years of secondary boarding education for orphaned youth, showcasing leadership potential from South Africa's rural regions. Beyond education, raise the children, provide these scholars with trauma-informed psychosocial counseling and targeted maths and entrepreneur whose path has been forged through adversity, education, and unrelenting commitment to transforming lives and landscapes alike. So let us, with a warm ovation, usher in Lesego into the virtual podium. Please let us welcome our facilitator with some ovation from the comment section. Let us see that we're really appreciating that. So over to you, Lesego. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Patience. I don't know if you guys can see me and hear me.
I can't see you yet, but can hear you clearly.
Okay, let me see. I'm not sure why I'm not, just give me a second.
Okay. So welcome back, Lesego. We can see you. We can see you now. So. But you're still muted.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
And thank you so much, Patience, for your kind introduction and the whole team. I really appreciate the work that you're doing. And even as an advisor, it's been so remarkable to see how far, the organization has gone. And also in terms of the many participants that are on this call that have joined from many, many countries across Africa. So I'm really, really thankful for you making time to be here. So as Patience has mentioned, my name is Lesego, and I'm a proud African. I'm actually calling you from Cape Town, South Africa. I don't know how many of you guys have been to South Africa or have been to Cape Town, but it's such a nice city. And I'm an entrepreneur. I'm also, I guess, a giver, a philanthropist. And I'm really passionate about using business as a catalyst for social impact. And I started my entrepreneurial journey right after I finished graduate school. And the reason why I started my entrepreneurial journey is because, whenever we would, so my husband and I started a charity called Raise the Children, and that's what Patience shared about. We identify orphans from high-performing or rural communities that are so far away from Johannesburg and the big cities, and we place them in partner schools, mostly private schools that are closer to the cities, and we provide them with mentorship. So when we go out to recruit these orphans, it's just challenging because you find that you do have a lot of young people that are full of potential, and a lot of them also are not unemployed. So I started an agricultural hub. One, because a lot of young people that are in those rural areas obviously have, even older people, they do have access to land. And also seeing the gap in the market where, a lot of farmers on the ground, would struggle to sell their products or produce to big retailers such as like ShopRite or Pick and Pay, like we have here in South Africa. And part of the challenge, obviously, for farmers not selling is because they don't understand like the requirements from the retailers and all of that. And so that's what I started off with. And I also started off, and then I started Bokamoso Foods. So Bokamoso Foods is a business that processes different foods. We have tea and coffee, we have honey, and we also have wine. And so we literally buy honey from our beekeepers that we train. We manufacture beehives, and our goal has always been to take the products from Africa overseas, because also as part of my journey as well, having lived overseas, I did not see a lot of African products on the shelves, and that used to bother me like personally. So I made it my mission in a way to ensure that we actually aggregate, we get people that are on the ground who can supply us with high quality products, including wine, which I also recently launched, and exporting it to markets such as America and Europe, as well as like the United Kingdom as well. And obviously the topic today is about like relationship building and negotiation. So all of these are so integral in you as an entrepreneur running your business, right? Because at the end of the day, relationships are all about, or business is all about relationships, right? So it's not necessarily like who you know, right? It's really understanding, for example, if your target is to export, with the Africa Free Trade Agreement, if your target is to export your products to South Africa, let's say you're in Ghana and you want to export your cocoa to South Africa or shea butter or whatever, you need to understand the business environment of the country that you are targeting, because every country is different. And I'm super excited to walk you through my experience in relationships, how I've built relationships for my business, tapped into my network as well, and also the importance of understanding cultural differences, even within business, how things work, right? So just give me 1 second. I'm just sorry, plugging in my computer is about to die, so just give me 1 second. Hi guys, sorry I'm back. Sorry about that. So I think the first topic that I want to start talking about is understanding the cultural differences. Every country has different ways of like doing business, and it's very important to understand how that country operates. For example, I'll give you an example with America. So with Americans, when you approach them, Americans tend to be very, very casual, right? So when you approach a company, the number one thing is that you need to have done your research, right? So understand that company or the individual that you're trying to target, because in your engagement with them, they will know whether you know anything about their product or their services or their company, if you're looking for funding even, because that really enriches the conversation as well. But if you just go in with like no idea, so that person will actually feel, I guess, unvalued in a way, because obviously if you are trying to get, if you're trying to engage with someone, right, and you have not done your homework, then it's almost like a waste of time for them. So number one thing is do your homework before you even approach any company or anyone. Understand how they work. If you're looking at doing deals with them, understand the deals that they've done in the past, which is also part of research, and how they've structured them, how they've done things, because it also helps you in your approach. You understand this is how they work, right? And so when you engage with them, you're engaging with them using that angle as well. So for example, if I go and present my product, right, to, let's say I'm approaching a retailer in the US for my honey, right, or for my wine, they need to understand, for example, I need to, because I don't want, these are busy people as well, so I don't want to waste their time. So I need to have all the information, right, ready. So for example, how many, bottles of honey am I able to supply them with? Capacity, distribution, right? Do I have distribution in place, right? Who is my distributor? Before you even go to that individual, right, to approach them to take on your agri product, it could be anything. And then also in terms of like your paperwork, you need to have like your paperwork in place as well. Like, for example, do you have like an import certificate? In our case, we are FDA approved, we are FDA certified. Do I have my FDA certificate in place, before you even start? That's why it's so critical that you do your research, you do your homework before you even approach bigger organizations or bigger retailers to take on your product. You need to make sure that you've done your homework, right? It also shows that you've done your bit on your part as well. Yeah, and I think also like having stats like for example, like how you manufacture your product, where you source your raw material. So I think even if you're maybe meeting someone and you have a presentation ready for them, make sure that you've put all of that data in place, because then it saves them a lot of time for asking questions. So they're not going to go in and ask you like a lot of questions, because all that data would have been on the spreadsheet. So that's number one. And then this is my experience also, like doing the same thing but in different continents. So for example, in when I do business, for example, in Germany, you need to have like your data, on your presentation. You need to have like information about your company, where you are located, and all of that, right? And also even things like casual conversations. So I find that when I do business in Europe, people are more formal there compared to when I do business like in America. For example, in Europe, people don't appreciate you like maybe asking personal questions like, oh, how's your family doing, during meeting, because people feel like you're being personal, right? Whereas when I engage with, I guess, business people or my networks in the US, people would want to know more about me, right? So what drives me as an entrepreneur? What makes me come alive? They would ask about my family, my husband, my this, because that's how they want to get an idea of like who you are. Not just the product that you're presenting to them, but like who you are as an entrepreneur. So it's so important, depending on what market you're approaching. It's very important that you understand culturally what the business environment is like, the business culture of that country is like. Yeah. So, and so I'll give you an example as well. I have a friend who also is in wine, And so during COVID, she was doing tastings, like wine tastings over Zoom. So she would send samples of her wine to, Singapore, and then she obviously would do the tasting online. So people were very quiet. People were not really like responsive. She realized that, people are not, the feedback, I think after that, she left feeling like people were not giving her the feedback that she wanted, like immediately. It wasn't as engaging compared to when she does like tastings elsewhere. But then, after that, she got like a long email, positive email where, the participants in Asia were very thankful for the tastings. And as a result, they ended up ordering like more wine, right? So these are the cultural differences that I'm talking about, like understanding also before you go somewhere, how that particular, I guess, culture works in terms of like business engagement. And some people also, they may not appreciate you, because I know, for example, in my experience, even engaging with my network, my business network in the US, a lot of people don't use WhatsApp, right? So a lot of people are not, WhatsApp is not as big there. So people prefer emails instead of just you sending them like a text message or WhatsApp to say, hey, this is my business profile or whatever. People tend to see that as a little bit unprofessional, unless if you have like a deeper relationship with that individual. But people also, would like to use professional platforms for like messaging or emailing and all of that. Whereas recently I did a food show in Kenya. I participated at a food show in Kenya for my wine and honey. And so people actually, the business connections that I got, people actually preferred engaging more on like WhatsApp. So like, can you send me your digital business profile on WhatsApp? I'm more reachable on WhatsApp than I am like on email, right? So some of the business deals that I've actually done, some of them have been like on WhatsApp, where I would chat with buyers or officials, using WhatsApp as opposed to like emails, because, for email, sometimes an email will be sitting on someone else's inbox and they miss it, or it goes into a spam account or whatever. So it's very important that you familiarize yourself in terms of like what makes the people that you're engaging with like more comfortable for communication and all of that. And I think the other, I've talked about like preparation. So preparation is very, very key for any market. For example, taking my honey to the United States, I needed to understand one in terms of like pricing, right? Because people appreciate it a lot when you've done your homework. So I spent maybe more than 2 years just doing research, understanding what my competitor prices are, how they've packaged, their products like in the US. The other thing that I would like you to also think about and do is storytelling, because, I think in Africa, we do have unique stories about our backgrounds, ourselves, where we come from, and impact. And I know a lot of you guys that are on this call are impact driven. So maybe on the continent, I know we don't share much about our stories. We don't share much about our impact. But in those markets, people really appreciate it when you actually share a lot about like your impact, or share a lot about your story, because consumers on the other end, the consumer trends are really changing. People are more conscious about the products that they buy, the impact that product has on the environment, the impact that the product has on people. So you'd find that someone is actually willing to pay $1 or $2 more if they know that this product is from Nigeria and it's benefiting this community or that. So I would say in your marketing, don't be shy about telling your story, because that's your biggest selling point and that's your differentiator. I know on the continent it doesn't really move a needle that much, but especially on the export side, that has worked for me really, really well. So even when you're engaging and when you are negotiating your price, I think not feeling bullied and actually putting that forth, justifying why, FOB, your honey is like $5 selling price, and why it should be on the shelves, why it should be like $20. That's why it goes back to research. You really need to do your research. You need to be able to justify why your product should fetch certain price, and so that links into negotiation skills as well. And I've been able to use that. And I'll give you a practical example with my wine. So I have a rosé, I have a Chenin Blanc, I also have a Shiraz. So South Africa, one of the areas where we are competitive agriculturally, it's also wine. Remember, wine is also part of agriculture, right? So wine, you don't see a lot of females or even black females in wine. So South Africa has a 400-year-old history of like wine. So we've been growing wine for a long, long time, although we are seen as like the new world market, because, the old wine world is considered to be like France and Italy. They've been producing like wine for a long time. So new world would be South Africa, would be Australia, and all those other countries, right? And so when I go to shows, people get surprised. They're like, well, we don't see a lot of like female owned wine brands. And so that gives me an opportunity to tell my story as an African with an African wine brand, right? And then also it gives me the competitive edge, because not only does my wine come from Africa, but there's also impact associated with it. So 5% of the proceeds of the sale of my wine goes towards funding our beekeepers. We work with women beekeepers in rural South Africa. We also work with men beekeepers. We train them as well. We provide them with beehives, work with organizations that provide them with beehives, and we sell retail honey. And obviously, we're helping people that are in rural areas to get an income, sustainable income through beekeeping. We're also saving the environment, where we're saving the dwindling population of honeybees. So if when I negotiate pricing, like all of last week, I was meeting some of the buyers. I actually tell people the reason why my FOB price should be like $8 or $9, because it really has an impact, like on the ground, like in Africa, right? And that has a backing, right? Just given the work that we've done in the past. So I would say, don't be intimidated, because getting even into those export markets, like if you want your product to end up in the UK or wherever, you really need to, like I said, do your research. You need to be ready to justify why your product is X amount, and you need to be able to negotiate. So negotiating your price is bringing up all those factors, like the impact, the this, the that, right? But also you need to remember earlier on I said, it was so important for me when I was doing research to find out what my competitor price is, right? So I know that my competitor's price, for example, in the US, a US honey brand, maybe on the shelf is like maybe $5 or $6, right? So mine, this is actually one of our brands. So mine on the shelf, our honey would be like, let's say $15 or $20, right? And it's that price because we only use glass. The packaging is also like very competitive. It's luxury. It has a luxury look and feel. So these are things that you need to also keep in mind, that if you're aiming for a certain price, for your price, you need to for your product, you need to make sure that your product looks good, right? Because sometimes when people think of products that are coming from Africa, they think, oh, the packaging may not look good, or it may not have a barcode, it may not have this, it may have not done that. So like, there's never wasted time when it comes to researching your product and making sure that your product becomes very competitive on the export market. I don't know what else to share with you guys, but this is extremely, extremely, extremely important. Making sure that like you've done your homework, and I'll even show you, even doing like having like nutritional like information as well. So these are things that bring value for your product as well. Like our honey is like kosher certified, which means we're also targeting also certain clientele, right? So these are people that are like, you know what, I'm actually happy to spend $2 or $3 more, right? Because I know that this honey is like kosher certified, right? And we are also halal certified. So we have clients that are like, you know what, I will not buy honey unless if it's like halal certified and all of that. We're also like GFSI certified. So when you have like some of these certificates, like the ISO certifications and all of that, it actually puts you in a better position, also price-wise, for you to like negotiate, right? And I know yesterday we had a round table discussion with USAID around how they can actually help promote African product, the export of African products, like in the American market, right? And I know some of the challenges of that we face as entrepreneurs, me included, because I've walked that road as well, is access to funds, capital to attain those certificates, right? But then there are so many organizations that are out there, even reaching out to like the local USAID program. I know some of them fund certification processes. So if you need to get like FDA and all of that, so these are things that you need to be looking into, right? And also looking into things like looking into things like expos. So if you go to international expos to exhibit your products, these are some of the things that are very important. Like before you even go to an expo, it's very important that you've done your relationship, you've done your homework. And another thing that I want to share about with relationships as well. For example, you've applied for funding at USAID or some of the funding that we see on the African Change Jamaica site, right? There's a lot of funding that's out there. Funders appreciate it when you continue to like update them, right? They've given you $10,000 or they've given you $5,000. What have you done, right? So even if you send out like newsletters of an update, like, oh, with this $5,000, I've been able to do X, Y, Z. I've been able to attain this certificate. I've been able to attain that. And that's how you build trust. Remember earlier on, I said a business, essentially, it's all about relationships, how you engage with someone, right? So if I see that someone, is just interested in, and all of us are different, right? Someone is just approaching me to get something from me and they just disappear. I personally would not invest that much in a person. I get a lot of requests for people asking me to mentor them or whatever. Like, I really want to know if that person is willing to put in, because it's not just like a short-term thing that, oh, I'm applying from this organization to get X amount or to get into certain markets. Relationships are very key, right? And I'm just trying to think of a saying in my language, Setswana, that is actually that I can translate well. Like pretty much that translates as like never ruin like relationships, never put something dirty in like water, because you never know when you'll go back and drink from that well, right? So for me, nurture relationship has been really, really important. People value trust a lot. People value credibility as well, right? So make sure that wherever you go, whatever you do, never burn bridges, right? So even if you have a misunderstanding with someone, try your best, to make sure that, things end well. Even if it's not your fault or whatever, that doesn't matter. Just make sure that from your end, you've done your part as well. Even with your customers, if there's a crisis, there's a situation, make sure that you are as professional as possible, like engaging the client or engaging the importer or whatever. Always try to put your best foot forward when it comes to like negotiating and all of that. And also tapping into your networks, right? So once you've made sure that you've done your homework, you've researched, you do whatever, go back to some of the networks that you have in those certain markets. For example, you have a college roommate who is now working for Deloitte or whatever, and they may know someone, right? Never feel afraid, to say, hey, this is what I'm working on. I'm working on XYZ. I'm going to share my deck with you. If you know anyone in the industry, right, do you mind sharing it? And obviously, if you have like a LinkedIn profile as well, and you can see that whoever or the company that you're targeting, someone else has relationships with ShopRite or whatever, and within your network, always try to reach out, because there's nothing wrong with like throwing yourself out there as well. But like I said, trust and credibility are highly, highly, highly important. Someone is more likely to refer someone to your business or to introduce you to XYZ because of obviously your reputation and how long they've known you, right? There's nothing worse like, people feeling like, they've been taken advantage of, or maybe you're using them or you're talking to them just because you want to get to a certain market or whatever. And And I think also like checking in on those connections, like business connections. For example, I know for sure with my clients in Europe, with my clients, in America, even in South Africa, when I send someone like a text message, like I was saying, also understanding how people prefer communicating and stuff. Like in South Africa, when I send, some of my clients like text message or whatever, like, hey, how are you? I'm checking on you. Things like that really build on that trust. Taking them out for coffee. I mean, coffee does not cost that much to say, hey, I just wanted to catch up with you. Even if it's like a quarterly thing, like, hey, let's do coffee, let's catch up. It doesn't always have to be about business, right? You can just even ask them questions like, hey, I was thinking about this and that, or I just want to find out how you guys are doing, like work-wise, company-wise. If it's someone that you know really well, also you can ask like, how's your family doing and all of that. So those things are really important because sometimes you never know, when you will need that person for a certain deal or whatever. So relationships are very, very nurturing. Those relationships are very important. Being able to stand your ground to negotiate like pricing. I don't back down on my price. For example, I know that I need to price my wine in the US market in a way that I'd also be competitive with other brands like in the US, right? So people are not just going to buy my wine because I'm a Black woman in South Africa who sells wine. No. You need to make sure that when it's on the shelf, that's where the work begins, right? You share on your social media, you share within your network, you build relationships. It's so critical, guys. I cannot overemphasize this. The people that are at the shops on the ground, the salespeople that you find on the floors, those are people that you need to be investing your time and energy on because those are the guys that sell your product, right? So for example, if there's like 10 wine brands or 15 wine brands, and then I walk to someone like one of the salespeople on the floor and I said, hey, I'm looking for a South African wine brand, a Chenin Blanc or whatever. Because of the relationship that you have with those salespeople that are on the ground, they'll always refer customers to your brand. Hey, have you tried this honey or have you tried this wine? It's amazing. It has impact on the ground. It's doing this. For females, for women beekeepers, it's doing this. Also for bees, for the environment. So I find that even with the retailers that I work with in South Africa, having relationships, even with the guys, even with security guards, it's very, very important because should anything go missing or should, something happen, I know that if I need information about my product, I'm able to pick up a call and even if I can't get hold of the manager, I'm able to pick up a call and call this person. So never, even as an entrepreneur, you need to have a humble spirit. You need to be very approachable, especially when people are selling your product. You really need to be approachable, literally from the bottom up, right? And you need to build relationships with, people that are on the ground selling your product, because that's where you'll get feedback about how your customers are responding to your products, feedback from the market, things that you could improve, and this is based on the questions that they are getting from your customers who are buying your product as well. So I don't know if people have any questions, and like I said, for me, integrity is very important, guys. I cannot, overemphasize this because, for example, if you've done something terrible to someone, remember, word goes really, really fast, so even if you are looking to, I guess, put your product on the shelves of ShopRite or wherever, and then because you've had a bad relationship with someone or you left a bad experience with someone, that thing will follow you. You know what I mean? That's why earlier on I said, make sure that, you try to do right by people. And I know sometimes as much as you try to do your best, not all of that is reciprocated, but never burn bridges, And, for me personally, some of the most important people have been the guys that are like on the ground, because those are the guys that sell your product as well. So like active listening is very important. You need to have a listening spirit. You need to be able to like listen to like feedback, not just say, I know that my product is like the greatest, right? So even if you have to change anything about like if customer feedback is very important. If a customer says, listen, the font for me, it's too small or too whatever. Try to be accommodating, right? Obviously, you're not going to change everything entirely for all your clients, but try to at least listen or to make the customer or the client feel that they are listened to as well. And also responding to like emails. I know we are all busy, but also try to make sure that like you follow up. For example, I go to a trade show. All of last week, I was in the US meeting with different clients. You follow up, they ask you for information. Even if you don't have that information right now, say, listen, I don't have it right now, but if you give me like a day or two, I'll circle back. I'll come back to you. So people really appreciate that. And for me, my business has grown a lot, to be honest, because of like referrals, people that have been in my network, whether there's like funding elsewhere, whether there's like speaking opportunities overseas or whatever. It's literally been those people that are in my network. And my parting words would be, people always remember how you made them feel, right? It doesn't matter if it's like a car guard or police officer or security guard. People always remember how you made them feel. So essentially, our businesses are built on relationships. So make sure that you nurture like good relationships, because you never know how far they will take you. And personally, for me, relationships have taken me so far, and they've impacted my business growth so much, that now today I can talk to you as as someone who owns a global brand, right? So yeah, I'm gonna open up the floor for like questions and anything.
Thank you so much, Lesego. I'm very sure that some participants will have questions for you. Thank you so much. So let's appreciate Lesego in the comment section. Say great things to her. Say thank you to her for all of the things that she has shared. And let us also know what your takeaway is. I can see you clapping. I'm clapping as well for you, Lesego. Thank you so much. So what are your key takeaways from this session, from what she's shared? What is it that stood out for you? For me, it is the storytelling. Africa has a very unique story, and then we need to start talking about our stories. We need to start sharing our stories with the outside world. And that's actually what we do. One of the things we do at African Changemakers, we share our stories, we share the unique stories of Africa to change global narratives about Africa. And seriously, that's been very, very key for us at African Food Changemakers. So please share your key takeaways. I want to read what you have to say, what your takeaway, what the greatest point is. She has said so many things about how to build relationship, how to build our networks, and all of those other things. So let's just see what you have to say. So if anyone has a question, please, you can raise your hand. I'm already seeing some hands raised. So we'll just quickly allow people to ask questions so that we can go over to some other things. So before I go to the questions, someone is saying, for me, it is nurturing relationship and storytelling. Another person said building relationship and integrity. So keep relationship, that's the key takeaway for someone. And someone is saying great entrepreneur. Thank you so much, Lesego. We think you're a great entrepreneur. Thank you. So quickly, let's have some questions. Erwin and Noro, I hope I got that name. Please, I'm asking you to unmute. Please unmute and ask your question.
Thank you so much, Lesego. Thank you so much for today. I'm very much impactful with your words and how you command them very much to us today. I'm very much grateful to having you for today. Thank you, the team of AFC and the SEE, my cohorts. I so much love everyone today. My question is on the part of managing international supply chain or international business, we are saying, on relationships. How do you manage these foreigners, people that normally underprice our agricultural produce like Africans? They know you are coming from Africa. On the part, you give them a price. Some of them we like to give you on the price, or they will find a kind of a certification that may warrant you not to. They know you may not have it, but they will try to use it to underprice your product. How do you manage such a part when you are coming up before you get to where you are now? How are you managing them before then? Thank you.
That's an excellent question, and thank you so much for asking. I've definitely experienced that myself, and that's why I said, it's so important because I know a lot of us are in a rush to get our products listed, like in America. It's like a big achievement, and it is, right? Or any market, right? Even your products coming to South Africa, right? But I would say that patience is a virtue. When you find importers and distributors, there are many importers, out there in America. So even before you sign up with someone, make sure that you've done due diligence, you've researched what they've done, even talking to someone who's doing business with them, ask them, do these people pay on time? Because I've seen people who've sent products over to overseas and they just disappear. They never pay you. And so you don't want to be like a victim. So as much as like, obviously the idea of exporting is like very exciting, you want to make sure that you really, really, really know who you are dealing with. Number two, never put your eggs in one basket. So even if you find that one importer, it goes back to research. Do research. Top 10, importers in America, or I'm talking about America because it's a market that I'm familiar with, or in Europe. You want to export to the UK, you want to export shea butter. Look at all the importers and distributors there. Understand who they're working with, clients that are working with, and also maybe reach out to that client to say, hey, I'm thinking about approaching this importer, whatever. What's your experience been like? And so, for example, with wine in America, it's so different because that's why it's so important to understand your market as well. Every state has its own law. So there's Virginia, there's the East Coast, West Coast, there's like over 50 states or 50 states in America, right? So you are allowed to actually have an importer or distributor in every different state. So imagine the challenge that I would have faced if I only relied on like one person, right? Because that person can say, listen, I'm giving you, like I'm taking this price, this is the price I'm giving you. So I never, as an entrepreneur, want to be in a position where I'm a price taker. I don't negotiate my price. So that's why engaging with multiple people and making sure that your product is distributed by different people is very, very important. And also, these guys can try to bully you as well, especially when you're an African. They would think that, because you don't know much about the American market, they will want you to sign clause to say you don't bring in your product if it's not through them. Don't do that. Just be kind and say, thank you very much, but I'm not prepared to do that, because when you sign that agreement and that person is the only person bringing in your product, you are tied to that person like legally, and there's nothing that you can do sometimes to get out of that agreement, or sometimes it's like an expensive exercise for you. So read those agreements and understand who you're dealing with, and negotiate. Really, like, don't be intimidated, because I've seen it. Where someone is like, no, your wine FOB, I'm gonna take it for like $3. I'm like, no, you're not taking it for $3. It's $5 because XYZ FOB, and if that's not the price that you're prepared to take, buy. And it's okay. Someone, the right person, the right partner for you, and like I said, it goes back to relationship. The relationship that you have with your importer and your exporter has an impact on your business growth, because they also, once your product is on the other end, they also are able to share your story. They're able to tell like the impact of your product and all of that. So don't be bullied. Next question, if anyone else has a question.
Oluwaseyi, please can unmute and ask your question.
Hello, good evening, ma. Yeah, good evening, ma.
Hi.
Yes, ma. Thanks so much for the lecture. I really gained a lot. My question is, how do we fix price? How do we fix our price? As maybe in Africa, like in Nigeria now, I have a price I'm selling here. So how do I fix my price if I want to sell that product in maybe UK or America? Because there was a client that was asking me for something in Rwanda, and she was asking me the price. I don't even know the price I will give to her. But I know the Nigerian price, but how to fix our price so that it's going to fit into the other countries. Then my other question is, what's the best means of collecting money from other African countries? As in, how do you collect your money? Maybe, okay, they want to send money to you and then you want to send your...
Yeah. So those are excellent questions, and thank you so much for asking those questions. In terms of like price, because a lot of us use US dollars, like, trade-wise, a US dollar tends to be like the main, I guess, currency that's used. So I would say, for example, you need to obviously look at your costing as well. You need to look at your shipping cost, because you can't expect to buy your product or sell your product the same way you're selling it in Nigeria, because you have not factored in like shipping cost. You've not factored in even packaging. You've not factored in a lot of things. So your price, even if it's bulk, your price will be a little bit higher because of those factors that I've just mentioned, right? And also sometimes you have to pay import duties. So these are things that you also negotiate, right? In terms of like, when you're selling your product like FOB, right? So the person who's buying your product has to actually pay import duties. It's not your responsibility, but like I said, it goes back to negotiation, because if you don't say this in advance and let's say you've given them your price for maize, it's like $2,000 or $1,000 a ton or $500 a ton. And you can't always go back to say, actually, no, I didn't factor in shipping. I didn't factor in all these things. So the best response would be going to that client in Uganda and say, listen, my price is in US dollars, because that's a universal, I guess, way of trade, or the universal currency that we're using for trade. So when I sell my wine to obviously the US or elsewhere, even in Africa, I cost in US dollars and it works perfect. In Europe, I use euros, right? So you really need to do your homework and calculate what your product would be like. And even talking to like shipping companies, like, there's DHL, and I'm not advertising for them. There's many logistics companies that can also sort of like help you with information so that you actually work from backwards to determine like, your price, your final price. Yeah, and in terms of like, collecting your payment, I use Standard Bank, and there are many other banks out there. I don't know about because I know in Nigeria Standard Bank is there, and many other African countries. And in that way, it's a lot easier for you to, when you use your business account to receive payment and also to send money out. Obviously, especially if you have like a business account, because that order would be, you would transact using that business account. I think it becomes very challenging when you use other platforms. I've not used other platforms like, there are other, like there's Western Union, and there's, it's, like I said, it also goes back to like trust, right? So if I've ordered shea butter from you, and and I need to send you proof of payment, through whatever a bank transfer that I would have done, and I need to email it to you to show that you've really, or maybe I pay like 50%, right? So that's proof to show that, obviously you've received payment, or I've sent you payment and all of that. But I don't know much about other ways of like payment outside of like the digital payment. For example, if you have a link on your website, if you have an e-commerce site, people can obviously you can actually register or put your bank details there where people can pay by card, irrespective of where they are in the world. And obviously you will receive payment directly. And that has worked out for us like very well, but this is more on the e-commerce side. Yeah, so I hope this is helpful.
All right, thank you so much. Let's go. Before you ask your question, Apeji Adenike, there is a question on the comment section I'll quickly want to read out. The person is saying, in curating relationships, especially business relationships, what should be the first impression to start conversations with new clients? From where should I begin?
Sorry, do you mind repeating the last part?
Okay, so
yeah. Hi, I think I missed you. Can you hear me? Hi Patience, I think we missed you. Or maybe it's on my side.
Okay, so can you hear me, Lesego?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so in creating relationships, especially business relationships, what should be the first impression to start conversations with new clients? From where should I begin?
Number one is understanding like the party's background, that client that you're trying to engage, understanding what they offer, what they do, because also that adds value in your engagement with them, right? Because they will see that, oh, this person has actually done this. They've taken time to understand what we do or who we are and how we operate, right? So that's the number one thing. And I think also asking questions is very good as well. Even challenging questions, in terms of like payments, payment terms, understanding, even if you're trying to sell this product, let's say to ShopRite, and I'm mentioning ShopRite because it's a South African brand that's in many African countries, right? What are their payment terms? Don't just be excited because they want to take you on. Will they pay you in 30 days? Will they pay you in 60 days? Will you be able to, service your creditors and all of that, in that time, right? So I think it's very good for you to obviously understand how they work. Also at the same time, ask enough questions. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions. Like, it doesn't mean that you're dumb or anything. It's good so that you understand how these people like operate, right? And also, as much as you're asking questions, like listening and being able to like receive feedback. So if a client said, you know what, we're not able to take you now because XYZ, you don't have this, you don't have that, I think it's so good to always thank people for their time, after you've engaged with them, say, thank you so much for taking 10 minutes out of your schedule to take a call with me. I really appreciate it. I value it. If I have any other questions, is it fine if I can send you additional questions or whatever? People appreciate that, because it becomes more personal. It becomes like, it's professional, but it becomes more personal, right? So yeah, and also being genuine as well. Being genuine about your interest in that particular person, not person, but your interest in that particular business and stuff like that. And preparation is key. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much. Let's again. I have one last hand raised up. Apeji Adenike, can you ask your question, please? Apeji, please unmute and ask your question.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much. It's been a very interesting time listening to you, and I've learned quite a lot of things. So I just came back from an exhibition in US, trying to penetrate the market from the knowledge base, which you have shared. And I encountered some basic challenges. First was having to create a formal collaboration with those who have existing African stores and other community, because my product is basically trying to reach out to the Africans in diaspora because of the nature of the product. It's a local product, but of course it cuts across. Everybody also has an acceptance level. So my question is this, in leveraging on how to sign up deals with different stores, what was your basic strength in negotiation? Because I know that negotiation has to do with personality. Sometimes there were some stores I got to, and the person was already, because the person is also Nigerian, is also feeling like, oh, I know what this is, what that I'm trying to build my standard to export level. So how have you been able to handle such, and how did you tie up your sign-up document with them?
Yeah, that's a great question, and well done on the exhibition in the US, because the US is a big market, and I think even going to those exhibition, you learn so much, like you've shared now, you pick up a lot. I think for me, the biggest thing is, like I said, understanding like the network, even distribution network, for your particular product. in that, are you looking for like warehousing space, because there are people, there are companies that would offer you warehousing, but then you also need to sort out your distribution, to like the different stores, right? So I think plugging into maybe, some or a company or connecting with a company that has that distribution network that you need, and also people that are like aligned, so that worked for me. So we have a distributor, in the US who also like has a warehouse, and where they sell the product as well. It's the mission is aligned to what we are aligned with, as well. And they also have the scale. They have more people on the ground that can also take on your product, and sort of like give your product the time or the attention that it needs, instead of like just having like a basket full of like different products as well. So that's been number one. And I think also, obviously you're targeting the diaspora community, which is great, right? And your product coming from Nigeria, I think also overemphasizing why your product is like different, right? And marketing, because I feel like active marketing also plays like a huge role, because I think sometimes and this is what I found, that the first time when you're out there and you're selling the product, you may not receive the response that you're anticipating the first time. But I feel like when you consistently reach out, right? And you even ask for referral. If someone says, I can't take your product now, you can say, can you refer me to another store in another area or someone or whatever? That helps. So even if someone is sort of because I've also experienced where people are cold, we could see that they maybe they would see you as competition or whatever, or they're not as receptive. But I feel like when you consistently, tap on that relationship or tap on that, continue engaging with them, I feel like it does make a difference over time, because they will see how serious you are as well. And the fact that you're not giving up just based on their first impression or, the first response that they gave you. So yeah, keeping on. Yeah, I hope that I've answered the question.
All right. Thank you so much. Let's go. We have still one question. Please, is US dollar the only currency of transaction when exporting to other African countries? That's the question on the chat box.
I mean, I don't know about other currencies. I know from South Africa, selling in rands, it can be tricky because the rand fluctuates a lot. This is the South African currency. Same with the naira. Probably the naira also fluctuates a lot. So I find the US dollar being the easiest way to trade and do business, even in the continent, as compared to using other currencies. But I don't know. I think it would be interesting to hear if anyone on this chat has had any experience with using other currencies as well.
All right, thank you so much, Lesego. So there is a final question here. I think that should be the last for the day. Thank you so much. You've been with us, and we appreciate it. So this person is asking, he said, today I needed several tons of beans from Zambia to Lesotho. The supplier I contacted had named their price in one of the online forums, but escalated the price to double the amount when he heard I'm from a different country. If I would be incurring logistics costs, why the escalated price? Also, how do you maintain relationship in such a situation where integrity is compromised?
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, Motsadze. I see the questions from Motsadze. I'm so sorry about that. And unfortunately, that's the nature of business sometimes. Like I said, integrity is so critical. So when I read what you wrote, for me, it's a red flag, which means this person is inconsistent, right? So if they can quote you or share their price on an online platform that my price is X, and then when it comes to you and they hear that you're from, Lesotho or whatever, then they increase the price. So that for me, it's like a red flag, like in relationships, right? So you need to watch out for these red flags, because imagine what more can he do along the way. So if I say my price for wine is $15 or $20. It has to be 20, like it is that price, right? That's the number that I'm giving on export, right? I can't change it, to $30 just because it's going to Nigeria or whatever. So people really, like they judge you on small things like that. So that's why I was saying integrity is very important. And if I were you, I would just like walk away, because you don't want to, buy the beans and then, you continue doing business with this person and you find yourself in worse situation, you pay money and you find that that person does not even end up delivering beans to you. So, the best thing to do is like, thank you very much. Or you can say, hey, this is the price that I saw you'd posted. Is there a reason why your price is like XYZ? Maybe ask questions as well to find out why maybe he priced it that way. You never know. But like I said, for me, things like this, you need to always like look out for like red flags. And there are chance takers. Trust me, a lot of chance takers out there. People that would take your product, promise you everything, and then you'd find that once your product is delivered, you don't get paid. So before my product leaves, I at least demand half payment has to be done. You need to pay for half, 50% of like the invoice, because trust is rare in business, and unfortunately, like these days. And I think the other thing, last thing that I wanted to add as well is that patience is virtue. Take your time, do research. I know we would like to scale as fast as we can, but make sure that even with our mistakes, even the small mistakes, we continue to learn from our mistakes as well. As businesses, we continue to research, know your worth, know your product's worth. Don't settle for anything just because you're an African, your product is from Africa or whatever. Like, you really need to have that confidence as well as an entrepreneur. It's very, very important. And also, like, for example, probably my business in South Africa would have grown like a lot more if I was someone that did not care much about integrity. I know even like transacting, there's a lot of corruption, right? Where someone would say, listen, I'm a procurement officer for XYZ. So if you give me 5% or 6% of your invoice value, whatever, your sales value, then I'll give you this contract. People will always remember you for things like this. Sometimes that can go and no one will ever know, that you've done that. And sometimes you'd find that a scandal like this would put you in the media for like negative things, negative attention, and that will destroy your business, So like I said, don't be, as much as you want to scale as a business, make sure that you do it the right way. And integrity is key. Even if you come across corrupt people, when they know who you are and what they stand for, what you stand for, people will respect you for that. But if you fall for anything, your integrities are compromised, So those are my last parting words.
Thank you so much, Lesego. Thank you so much. I'm sure that we've gained so much insight from all of the things that you've shared this evening. So, but before we let you go, please, we just want to take some snapshots with you. Seriously, I'm sure the participant wants to take a snapshot with you. We never can tell. We just meet you in Germany or South Africa next week. I'll be like, yeah, we were in a section where you facilitated. So please, everyone, let's put on our video, put on our best smiles so that we can take this screenshot with Lesego. So please, okay, I can see some people's video is already open. So please, thank you. Let's just open our video so that we can take these shots. And please, that's not the end. We still have some information to share with you after Lesego has left the chat or left the room. So please, team members, help me take the screenshots. Thank you. Thank you. A lot of persons already. Great. Thank you. Thank you. We need to take these shots. Some persons are still not, have still not opened their videos yet. So please open your videos so that we can take the shots. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Please, let's put on our best smiles. I can see some people are already I've seen not open their videos, but please let us go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and do it so that we can let Lesego leave. Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Lesego. We really, really do appreciate the session. We appreciate you, and we hope that you would oblige us again next time when we come calling. Thank you so much. We appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it, and you know, I really also appreciate the work that you guys are doing at AFC, the impact that you have. It's great, and I'd encourage participants that are on the call and in any program to make the most of all the offerings of you know, of AFC. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Lesego. Thank you. So participants, yeah, so before we let everyone go, we have some information for all of us, and then but before we do that, I'll quickly call on the membership officer, Nosa Obano, to quickly take us through the membership drive. If you're not a member yet, this is the time to become a member. So Nosa, are you on the call?
Thank you, Patience.
Yes, we can hear you, Nosa. Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone on the call. And my name is Nosa Obano. I'm the membership officer at African Food Changemakers. And as just as my colleague has rightly said, I'll be taking us through the membership drive. Before I go on, I would like to know if participants of the call can signal if they are already a member of the hub. I would love to know how many of us on this call are members already of the African Food Changemakers. Yeah, I can see that from Alima, from Chinyere. Thank you. For those that are not yet members, we are missing on quite a lot of opportunities, and our membership is open to entrepreneurs across Africa. And I think there was a bit of misunderstanding between some participants of the SEP program about a week ago. They were not too sure if they were members or they were not members. So there's a difference between being a participant of a program and being a member of African Food Changemakers. Just as the SEP program is, you also have the membership department. So you have the programs department and the membership department. So you being a participant of a particular program, maybe SEP or BRAZE or YADP, it doesn't guarantee you that you are a member of AFC hub. So for each year, we have different programs aligned for members and potential members to join the community. But in each of those programs we offer, during the live interactive sessions and some virtual meetings, we also do a membership drive, which is to encourage participants of a particular program to become members. And like what is shown on the screen, the membership hub comprises of entrepreneurs across Africa. So far, we have over 39 membership community from different African countries. And just to become a member, you have those three criteria to become a member. The first is you being in the agri-food space, meaning that you must either own an agribusiness or you work in an agribusiness organization and you make key decisions for the company, either you're the CEO, the founder, or the MD. And the second criteria is that the particular business you run or own must be in existence for a period of 6 months. And finally, the third criteria is that you should have a social media handle. For participants on the call, you will recall that our last first Thursday session talked about crafting at the business marketing, digital marketing criteria for your businesses. So from that session, you could see the importance of having a good social media presence, because once we reach out to potential funders or potential investors and they are willing to invest in our entrepreneurs, most of them look out for activities that talk about what they do or what they preach. So a fast way of getting that is from their social media handle, whether it's a website or your Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn that can tell about what you do as an entrepreneur. And some of the benefits highlighted on the screen shows that we offer visibility to our members. We also offer opportunities in terms of data resources, event opportunities, capacity building opportunities, and also referrals and recommendations from our own end. And we also spotlight members through the Instagram live showcase which we do, which is monthly. And we also have the knowledge share session where we have experts in the agri-food space come talk to our entrepreneurs about some key industry knowledge and key industry insights that can help improve the agri businesses. And one of those events is the first Thursday, which we have on a monthly basis. And lastly, we have a market up feature on our membership platform where entrepreneurs can also spotlight their product and share their product to potential buyers. Our website has the market up feature. And for you to be able to access the market up feature, you have to be a member who already have a dashboard. Once you become a member, once you register for membership, you are automatically taken to your dashboard where you can use all the membership features that awaits you. And the feature for the marketplace is very simple. Once you open your dashboard, you'll see a marketplace feature where you can upload your product, the prices, the information about your product on your dashboard. And once you click submit, we automatically get a notification from our end where we review what you've uploaded. And if it's good, if it follows the criteria that you followed, then you can upload it from our end. And once you upload it from our end, it automatically shows on the AFC hub, where on marketplace, where potential partners or potential buyers can see your product for sale. And once they click on that link, it takes them directly to your social media page or the website you kept there where they can access your own individual website as well. So these are just few benefits of becoming a member at AFC. We also have a community where entrepreneurs can share ideas. We have the WhatsApp group, we have the Facebook group, we have the Telegram group as well, where entrepreneurs can liaise with other entrepreneurs on creating ideas and also liaising with opportunities. If you're a producer and looking to process your produce or your product, or also looking for logistic company to take your products, we have entrepreneurs across all the value chain which can just send a message on the WhatsApp group or Telegram group, and you see people who attend to your inquiries. I think that is enough from my end, and I will urge everyone on this call that are not yet members to become members and also start benefiting from the membership benefits you offer. Thank you. I will drop the link on the chat in case we have people that are interested. Thank you. Over to you, Patience.
All right, thank you so much, Nusa. So if you're not a member yet, what are you waiting for? Click that link on the comment section and become a member. It is actually very important that you become a member, especially as a SEP participant, because that's actually one of the ways you'll be able to enjoy the enormous benefits that we have in this program and other things that we do in the organization. Please, if you have not become a member yet, please become a member. Please and please and please become a member. We have the link in the comment section. So just click on the link and it will take you directly to where you need to input your data so that you can get to become a member already. So for next steps, we would be opening our last module, which is the module 6. I'm sure everybody is excited about this. But for this weekend, we're trying to upgrade and work so that we can serve you better on our server. So by this weekend, you may not be able to log in properly or correctly. So don't get furious or don't get scared when you try to log in and it's not logging in. We're actually going to have some maintenance on the site from Friday till Sunday. So on Monday we can all come back again and then continue with our learnings. But then we're going to open module 6 so that everybody can get to round up their learnings. And we still have some very wonderful interactive sessions ahead of us. We have where we'll be able to link us, have most of our partners come to talk to us directly, and then you will get to engage with partners directly, with donors directly, and all of that. We still have some of those sessions in front of us. So please, we're just getting started. You really wouldn't want to miss this. You really wouldn't want to miss it at all. So thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for attending this session today. And we really do appreciate you. And we hope to see you again, see you in our comment section, our WhatsApp group, emails, and all of that. And then most importantly, we hope to see you in our next interactive session. And so please stay connected, follow us on our various social media handles, on our LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. If you're not following us yet, please, this is the link on the screen. Please follow us. Please follow us, especially on Instagram and on LinkedIn, so that most of our opportunities, we used to have them published in our various social media pages and handles. So you get to see what's new that we're doing, what are the new things that we're doing, what are the new programs we're bringing up, and all that. That's the best way to get to see all of these things. So please do ensure to follow us. And then for now, I'll say do have a peaceful afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on wherever you are. Thank you so much, and bye.